Hi everyone, hope we're doing well. So, one of the times I spoke was with the Gulf War. I was attached to 39 Heavy Regiment Royal Artillery, or sorry, as it was termed then, 39 Heavy MLRS Regiment Royal Artillery. MLRS had just come into service in the British Army, or was just coming in, because we didn't commission it until we actually got out to Saudi Arabia just prior to the Gulf War. Had an interesting time with 39. Great regiment. We were in Dempsey Barracks in Senlager, and I'd been in Senlager before. I've been there with the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards in Athlone Barracks, so I knew Dempsey Barracks and I knew about 39. And 39, when I was there in 82, were mainly 110s and 109s, and they had nuclear capability. To the point that we had a American detachment with 39. Like I say, I got there 1990 and MLRS was just coming in, and then we got deployed out to the Gulf in the late November, early December of 1990, and then the Gulf War kicked off in February 1991. Whilst we were out in Saudi Arabia, and at the end of the war, I'll never forget, just prior to us coming back, the regimental sergeant major got the regiment on parade and said to everyone about weapons, not taking weapons back, such as I had a AKS that I'd found. Didn't want to see it. It was illegal, and we were to dispose of them, which I duly did. But my vehicle that I was travelling in, as well as my Land Rover, I was billeted out in the back of a ECI truck, as they call it, electronic control equipment's box body. And what we'd said to everyone, especially in the workshops, is if you want kit to go back rather than taking it back, store it in the binner, and we'll pick it up when we get back to Senlager. So we eventually left the desert. I think it was in the April. So the end of the Gulf War was like 28th of February, and we were still out there till April. And the bloke who I was on the truck with, the binner truck, a bloke called John Brook, was into golf. And I don't know why he'd done it, but he brought a sand wedge and a bag of balls along with him. So while we were still stuck in the desert, we were bored out of our skulls. I had a little thing going, it was called Nobby's Battlefield Tours. I used to take blokes around and show them the various dispositions of the Iraqi troops and that. But a lot of the time we were bored. So we ended up just knocking golf balls around from one tank berm to another tank berm. So that was fairly good. But we then got back to Senlager, and eventually the vehicles arrived. We had to go out to Bremerhaven to go and pick them up. Got them back down to Dempsey Barracks, and I'm offloading the truck. And some of you may remember them. The old sausage bag that we used to have. The old kit bag on our 1157. But I grabbed one kit bag and I knew immediately what I'd got hold of, because hanging out at the top of it was some packaging stuff. And when I grabbed hold of it, I realised automatically that I'd grabbed hold of the muzzle of a weapon. So I undid the packaging. Sure enough, it was the barrel of an AK-47. So I'm fuming, absolutely fuming. I spoke with John Brook, asked him if he knew anything about it. He didn't. and it was one of the AQMSs for the workshops. I questioned him, and it turned out that this barrel, yeah, and this kit bag belonged to the Regimental Sergeant Major. Well, my thinking is, right, if we'd have had the vehicle inspected, yeah, and that had been found, myself and John Brooke, I was a sergeant, he was a corporal, we'd have been in Wellston. So I took the weapon, I went out to regimental headquarters in Dempsey Barracks. I didn't even bother banging on the RSM's door. I just walked in, looked up at me, said, Sergeant Clark, what can I do for you? And I dropped the AK-47 on his desk. And the look on his face, I said, someone needs to explain about that, sir. Well, I brought it back so it can go up on the wall in the sergeant's mess. And I duly said to him, sorry, sir, but if that had been found, you'd have probably denied all knowledge of it. And either myself or Corporal Brooke would have ended up on a charge, even a court-martial. Well, I must say that in all the time that I remained with 39, I never once saw that weapon go up on the wall in the sergeant's mess. And I was a member of the sergeant's mess. So decommissioned weapons, you hear about it all the time coming back. Yeah, blokes brought them back from the Falklands. Guys brought stuff back from the Gulf War. You'll probably find this stuff from Bosnia, the Second Iraq War, Afghanistan. It all comes back, but the problem is, yeah, they could end up into a system that could be used for illegal purposes, and that's the issue. I remember reading about one Special Forces soldier that came back, and they found him with a weapon, ammunition, and so on, and he ended up in court. Yeah, and rightly so. Yeah, the fact is we don't bring it back. I buried mine in the trench that we'd set up as our defensive position while we were out in the Gulf. But I came back to Dempsey Barracks, spent, well, it was about another 18 months with 39. And during that time, I got involved in playing hockey. Yeah, many strings to my bow, mate. I tell you, I've played all sorts of sports. But one of the other things I got interested, or I had been interested anyway, in American football. And that had been sparked when I was attached to the Black Watch and the Royal Scots down in Vale, because we had an American base nearby. And there's a lot of rivalry between the Yanks and us about which was the harder sport, rugby or American football. And I'd started to play a little bit. We did it as a friendly. But then when I was with 39, in Paderborn there was a team in the German league called the Paderborn Dolphins. And I got interested in it. Yeah, I may be short, but I'm good for what my position was as a halfback, running back. So I ended up playing American football and hockey. Now this is where people go on about the opportunities you get in the British Army. I read an article this morning about a young girl that she's on about the opportunities that are there. Yeah, but the only thing I wish the journalists would get their bloody facts right, and they never do. They called her a Lance Bombardier, and there she is, picture of her stood there, 2 tapes on her arm. Well, I'm sorry, but when I was in the army, 2 tapes in the artillery meant you were a bombardier, not a Lance Bombardier. And she was on about the fact of how much they earn, yeah, as they go through. The fact of how much they spend on accommodation and so on. And the accommodation, she was saying it's about £100 a month, yeah, for her room with an ensuite shower and everything like that. I'm not sure, I don't know how much it is nowadays, but I know they do this pay-as-you-eat system rather than the old days where, you paid your food and accommodation and you just turned up at the cookhouse and that. Now, pay as you dine, I think they call it. But it is cheap. And I must admit, as a veteran, I've used the pay as you dine system. Yeah, when we used to go to golf events and we were housed up in the various barracks because we used to get ourselves in there. Pay as you dine was great. You pay about £1 for a breakfast, about £2 for a lunch, for a dinner. Good, but where you put these systems in place now, where you pay as you dine, I know there was struggles with the squaddies not eating correctly. They'd spent all their money on booze and everything else, and had no money to pay for their eating. And then you get a chit to be able to go and dine in the cookhouse. The only problem there is you still got to pay that money back. So you're now in debt for the following month. But like I say, there was some good times at 3-9. I was orderly sergeant one day and the officers' mess had a do on over the weekend. And I'm dressed in my number 2s, got my red sash on, and I'm going around the barracks doing my normal patrolling. And like I say, the officers' mess were having a do on. And there was German gardeners, there was loads of people there in civvies. And all of a sudden I had this little voice go, "Excuse me, Sergeant." So I turned around and looked, realised it was a Rupert. "Do you not know who I am?" So I duly snapped up a salute, smart salute. I said to him, "I'm afraid I don't know who you are, sir. Do you not salute officers?" I said, "Well, sorry, sir, but I could have been saluting one of the gardeners. Everyone's in civvies and that." Well, I'm stood there talking to this young lieutenant, and the next thing I know, the quartermaster, bloke called George Malcolm, came out. He said to me, "Everything all right, Sergeant Clark?" And I said to him, "I just met Lieutenant blah blah." I said, "No, I didn't realise he was an officer, sir." I said, "But I've corrected that." And the QM looked at me and said, "Sergeant Clark, you go back up to the room in the guard room. I'll see you in a minute. Lieutenant so-and-so, come with me." And he took him away. Well, when George Malcolm came into the guard room, into the orderly sergeant's bunk, first thing I had to do was make him a tea. Yeah. But we sat and we chatted, and he said to me, "I don't care about him." I said, he says, "What I want you to do, Sergeant Clark, when you see him, you salute him. You then run around the building and you salute him at the other end. And you keep doing that until I tell you to stop." So I did that for a couple of weeks, and you see this young lieutenant was getting a bit peed off. But one day I went to run around the back of the naffy and I ran into the Regimental Sergeant Major. Bounced off him and I said to the RSM, "I'll be with you in a minute, sir." Ran around the back of the naffy and this young lieutenant came out the other end. Sure enough, on there, snapped one up, saluted him. "Good morning, sir." And he looked at me and said, "Sergeant Clark, can we stop this?" I said to him, "I don't stop till the QM tells me to stop, sir." So I duly went back and saw the RSM, apologised for running into him, and he asked me what was going on. So I told him what the score was. And the RSM said to me, "I don't care what the QM says. You don't stop until I tell you to stop." Well, it must have gone on for about 3 months. Yeah, but I think that young lieutenant realised the error of his ways. But like I say, 3-9 was an interesting posting. A lot of technology came into play. I think I've said it before. We had a box body called a Diana truck, and it's where we tested all the technical boxes off the MLRS. Now at the time, MLRS, after 3-9, there were two other regiments sort of moved on to the MLRS system. And it's my understanding now there's only one regiment of RA that's got MLRS, and I believe that's a reserve unit. Because 3-9 was disbanded many years ago. They were up in Newcastle. But it's amazing, we keep cutting back on that. Everyone's going on about, you know, how the British Army couldn't deploy anymore. And it's true. Yeah, we cannot deploy to the numbers that we used to before under a direct threat. All because we've cut back and cut back. Now, I'm not political at all. In fact, I hate politicians with a vengeance. They're all a bunch of scumbags in my eyes. Yeah, but it doesn't matter if it's Conservative, whether it's Labour, or whether it's, at one stage, we had a, what was it, a coalition party that was together. And they did the same thing, they cut back on the forces. And I hear it all the time from people, I wouldn't serve in the forces and do this and do that. Well, if someone was to attack Britain, yeah, what do we do then? Yeah, these people that are sitting there bleating on about the fact that they'd never fight for their country. Yeah, well, it's the lads and lasses that are in the forces now that are fighting, in some cases, to protect your freedom. Yeah, and I'm a great believer that if you want freedom, you've got to fight for it. Yeah, same as we did. Same as the guys during the First and Second World Wars did. Yeah, so all these people that bleat on about it, I'll leave you to your own devices. Yeah, when the bullets are flying, the bombs are going off, yeah, you defend yourself, mate. Yeah, it's as simple as that. I think they used to call them conscientious objectors. At the moment, there's far too many of them. So 3-9 was, like I say, very interesting posting. Learned a lot, learned about new systems. Yeah, we then ended up with a new locating battery joining 3-9. They then started using these drones. I think I mentioned before, I got bought a drone for Christmas. I've crashed it once already, yeah, but I will be going out because my granddaughter wants us to go out and play around with this drone. So we'll probably do that this week. And eventually I'll show you a video of us flying this drone. Anyway, I'm on my way back home. Hope you're all doing well. And as myself and Keith always say, yeah, if you're new, you come across this channel, please consider subscribing. Not telling you to do it, we don't do that. It's up to you, you've got your own minds. But the more you subscribe, or more people subscribe, the more the channel grows. So I'm going to sign off now. All of you, please take care of yourselves, stay safe, and as Keith would say, let's tab.